Down payment assistance. It has downsides? No, but seriously, my name's Ryan Fagan, broker owner of Ardhi Real Estate. And with me again, I have Drew Thompson, mortgage lender with the Thompson Lending Team. And we're going to figure out, is free money free? Guys, this is general information. There's all kinds of different programs, and we can't cover all the specifics of everything. So this is general information for many common down payment assistance programs.
One of the biggest downsides of down payment assistance that really nobody pays attention to is the fact that if you decide that you want to move within a certain time period, you have to pay that money back. So what that means is if you decide that you want to refinance your home or sell your house within the first 5 to 10 years of being in that property, most programs will have a provision that you have to pay that money that they lent you back. The average home buyer moves within the first 5 years of being within their new property. So there's a good likelihood that you'll have to pay that money back.
But that amount is generally prorated, right? So if you pay 4 years, you're only paying for the 1 year difference.
Absolutely. So if you've been, like you said, if you've been in 4 years, you're only paying for the 1 year proration. So if it was 5 years, you're only looking at paying back 20%.
What's another downside?
One of the other downsides of using down payment assistance programs is that you may incur a higher interest rate, which means you pay more money. The biggest thing with that is, again, how much money you pay over time. The average person spends, average about 5 years in their property before they sell it.
So what does that scenario look like? Is it 1 percentage point and a half a percentage point generally?
The New Jersey program for down payment assistance, their current interest rate right now is at a 7.125%. And that is for anybody that has a 620 credit score or better. Meaning that regardless of what credit score you have, even if you have an 800 credit score, you're still going to get the same interest rate as the next person that has a 620 or a 630. Versus a regular loan that you would get that you didn't have any type of down payment assistance, you get a benefit or a lower interest rate when you're going to obtain that loan because of your credit score, because of your financial standing. The down payment assistance programs, they keep it straight across the board for everybody, which is good, but it's also a deterrent sometimes for people that are more financially savvy and that have better credit scores, because again, they don't really have a benefit in that instance.
So technically it could cost you more money in interest than you're saving in the down payment up front.
Absolutely. For the amount of money that you receive from the down payment assistance, you have to weigh out, is it worth it to get this $10,000 that I'm going to get from the down payment assistance program? Or should I go with the regular traditional program with a lower interest rate and save myself $20,000 to $30,000 over the lifetime of my loan?
So that tells me don't outsmart yourself by trying to take advantage of these programs in every situation, because you might actually save money by just doing a normal loan. Okay, so we covered that you might have to pay the money back and you could actually pay more interest. What is another downside?
The other downside is that they take longer to close than regular transactions. So when you're using a down payment assistance program, there is another entity involved that is giving you those funds for you to be able to close on your home. Unlike a traditional mortgage transaction where you are bringing your own money to the table and you're just going through one entity, which is the mortgage company, for you to be able to purchase the home. And what we fall victim to a lot of the time is that the mortgage company, us here, we will get done with the transaction and we'll get the loan approved. And then we have to send the information to the entity that is approving or giving you that money for down payment assistance. And they have to put their stamp of approval on that process. And that stamp of approval could take 3 days. It could take 3 weeks. It's difficult for sellers to accept your offer with a down payment assistance program because they are known to have difficult turn times on getting the approval back from the entity that's giving you that money.
Basically, it's going to take you a lot longer generally to be able to use these programs, and sellers may not want to accept your offer because they see that you're using down payment assistance. If you've ever dealt with government, a lot of these grant programs are nonprofits or government agencies, and they don't really care because they're not making money off of the deal. So they work very slowly. So even if your loan officer is doing a good job, the loan can take a long time to close.
I had a client just recently, through one of the state programs, and we calculated his income at $62,000 for the year. The state took that income that he was currently making, and because he had multiple jobs, they assumed that he was working those jobs all year. So they calculated his household income at $155,000 for the year, which took him out of qualification for the program. For us, Now we're scrambling at the end of the transaction trying to figure out how are we going to be able to close this loan, because now this client no longer has this $15,000 that they would have had before with this down payment assistance program. And again, because the interpretation of what they believed his income to be and ours were totally different.
Now you got to go back and forth with them and figure out if they're going to approve based off of the income or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were able to negotiate with the seller and to save the deal, but it's definitely not something that you want to hinge your deal on when you're trying to buy a house and there are multiple parties involved.
Yeah, we didn't schedule this, but it's basically an added complication into any deal. And the real estate transactions are already quite complicated, and there's a lot of things that could go wrong. This just adds another one. Another downside is you might not be able to use the program because it's only for specific areas.
A lot of the down payment assistance programs, they will give you down payment assistance based off of the county that you actually live in or the county that you are looking to move to. And if you are in a certain area, the income limit may be different in one county than it is in a different county. So you may be living in a county that has an income limit of $120,000 for the year. But that county that you're looking to move to has one that is 110, and now you don't qualify for that program because of where you're actually moving to or looking to purchase that property.
And I think the functional issue with that is especially if you're only qualified because you're using one of these programs or you don't have the down payment money, it restricts where you're able to look, and then it can be a bit complicated as far as your strategy in purchasing the property because maybe you don't want to move into these areas.
Absolutely. They kind of pigeonhole people into certain locations and certain areas because they've identified them as either a minority area or they've been pigeonholed it as an area that they're looking to make an opportunity zone. There's a bunch of different things that they do to kind of, like you said, make people stay in certain areas or kind of build up home ownership in a certain area.
And the big shame is I've seen clients that will fall in love with a property that we thought was in the zone that was approved for the down payment assistance, just to find out that that particular spot is not. And now they're heartbroken because they either got to do a regular loan, which maybe they're not able to do, or just not be able to get the property at all. So I think that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a very tough one. There is one program out there right now that goes strictly off of where you currently live at. So if you're currently in an area that is underserved and you're trying to move out of that area because of your crime or the things that the environment that you're in, that down payment assistance program will allow you to move out of where you're currently at and use that down payment assistance
They'll benefit you to move out the hood.
They'll benefit you to move out of the hood because, again, it's kind of a reverse mentality. Instead of them, telling you to say, hey, no, we want you to stay here and we'll give you money to stay here and keep you confined. No, we're going to give you money to move out.
That might be a little controversial.
All of these programs are controversial.
They are, right?
I can make a whole video on redlining.
Because it's social engineering in a certain way. So that's interesting. That's another video idea.
I think the biggest downside of down payment assistance is that it makes people think that you don't need money to buy a house, and that is a complete falsehood. You absolutely 100% need some of your own money to buy a house. I can't tell you the number of people that come to me on a regular basis and say, oh, well, I heard about this down payment assistance program. They're giving $15,000, they're giving $20,000. That is absolutely correct. But nobody on earth is going to give you $30,000 and not expect you to have a little bit of skin in the game. So if I could say the biggest downside to down payment assistance programs in general is the mindset of I don't need any money. And you should want to have some of your own money. You should save to be able to purchase your house because you want to be vested in that.
You need money to be able to fix stuff even if you buy the house. So if you're buying a house with no money, even if you can, that's a little risky.
It is super risky.
Not saying that you shouldn't do it because there are situations you could change your whole life by being able to acquire a property. But let's be realistic, having money
is key. And again, I'm not talking big money here. You should at least be able to have your first month of your mortgage payment in the bank. Most of the programs are going to require that regardless. $2,000, $3,000 in the bank is a starting point to help your lender, help your realtor get you into a property with a little bit of less headache with the down payment assistance program.
You might not think it's the downside. I think it's the downside. You have to take classes and do things like, that takes up a lot of your time sometimes for these programs.
It does. So any down payment assistance program you use, you have to go through first-time homebuyer courses. I don't think they're a downside because there's a lack of financial information and education in a lot of communities. So at least the down payment assistance programs give you a baseline for what you are to expect through the transaction. The downside is, again, some of these programs are weeks long. Some of these programs, if you're going to take one online, could take you anywhere from 4 to 8 hours to complete. That is a bit of a downside is, again, we're all busy people. We're all working, trying to make a living and everything like that. It's finding the time to be able to accomplish those things. So
if they're giving you money, it makes sense. It's a reasonable request that people get educated. My thing is, are they just clicking through it or not? Because I agree with the education portion.
Yeah.
But just so you guys know, you might have that is up to like 5-7 weeks. I know NACA's program, which isn't really down payment assistance, is a really long process. So some of these programs, you got to do stuff.
You got to be willing to do the work. If anybody tells you home ownership or the home buying process is super easy, it's not, especially when you're getting these assistance programs. Out of all the things that I mentioned there, do you think down payment assistance is a bad thing?
No, I think down payment assistance is great because I'm all for elevating your position in life. And I think acquiring real estate is probably one of the best ways to be able to do that. But I like what you said, where it's not a free ride and it's not a free lunch, right? You gotta do things to be able to get it, and you have to be responsible because you're still going to need money.
To that point, again, the money is coming from state and government programs. Again, this is your tax dollars at work. So these are the spaces where you can get a little bit of what you pay in back out of the government. Are they bad? No. Are there things that are going to be difficult? Yes. Should you use them situationally? Absolutely, because again, they are a great benefit to you. They're a great benefit to your family for you to be able to purchase a home if you don't have that amount of money saved to be able to get into a home.
So let us know what you guys think about down payment assistance programs. Has it helped you? Has it hurt you? Have you had a good or a bad experience? Let us know in the comments, and let us know what videos you want us to cover in the future. Thanks, guys. See you.